did that has high tempo, because Tulsa will be high tempo. A lot of the teams we face this year will be high tempo, and doing that in hot weather, it's critical.
How'd the scrimmage go for you?
Well, we get put in a lot of tough situations, which is what we want. And we really limited a lot of our top guys' reps, just trying to be smart. But a lot of the guys that we're going to need to play at various times throughout the year got a lot of turns, and I thought it went well.
Brian said that, obviously scoring is going to be different in the situations, but Brian said he thought two offense winning both scrimmages, but the progress, what do you see from that side of the ball? Theirs as well.
They've made a lot of progress, there's no doubt about it. Their confidence has progressed a whole lot. Their leadership has progressed a whole lot. From our perspective, yeah, we want to win every single scrimmage, but we also know Coach has a way of making sure that they're competitive down to the bitter end, and it usually comes down to whatever happens on that very last series. They got us.
Any sense of sadness in having Julian on the other side of the ball?
Sadness, if he's making plays, you'll see a sense of happiness. So that's what we want, to be in a position to make plays.
Is that one of those cases too where you guys got so much talent, you got to find a way to get them on the field?
So Coach has said numerous times over the course of the years, use him or lose him, and you look at a guy like that, or a Tony Lippett, or Jeremy Langford, or guys like that, you try to find out where they're going to be able to get on the field now, and where they end up, who knows? I'm not worried about that. I want to see him making plays now.
Special teams too, is he a guy that can help with special teams?
Yeah, impressed me with his intensity at like gunner play on punt, and ball skills back there. Obviously we know he has, but sometimes guys don't walk in the door with any interest in special teams, and he has done a really good job. It's impressed me.
Have you been able to get him any days on your side? A media day, I think Coach Haynes mentioned at some point he would maybe.
I'm thinking, and I can't think of a time that we have.
Okay.
I know we've had meetings with him. I know he's done individual drills.
Okay, yeah.
But in terms of the team periods, he's been catching the ball.
Is this the point in camp though where you guys are just ready to find another jersey, like a different team?
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I mean, you remind your guys this is football. We love football. We always talk about we don't care who's on the other side, whether it's Clemson, Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, or Michigan State. Doesn't matter. We get a chance to play football, and you need reminders of that on days when it's 90 degrees. But yeah, sure, we want to play Tulsa for sure.
There's so much focus and talk about the offense and the improvements they need to make. When you look at your side of the ball, so many guys back have played at a high level. Where do you find that extra motivation? You look at things like whether it's turnovers or sacks or passing yards. You pick out little things, say this is where we can get better.
Yeah, we had our 10 things in 100 days that we set out going into spring ball, and then another 10 things in 30 days that we started out going into fall camp. So we do have little areas of focus, and pass rush is one, and takeaways is one, and technique for individuals that they can really focus on. But what I've been impressed with is those seniors, those guys that there's been a lot of press of could have left or could have came back. They really got a team mindset, and don't seem to be worried about themselves. They seem to be worried about the team and working with the younger guys, and that's going to be key for us this year. Is the next 11, when we do need them, whether it's for guys getting a blow or whatever it is, how ready they are.
And how important too is that they don't ever feel like, hey, I've accomplished enough now. Hey, we're the #1 rushing defense, whatever. Is that why are those guys able to be like that and not, I guess, be satisfied?
That's why they were good last year, because that's the type of people they are. They're never satisfied. Today we had an inside period that didn't start as well as we wanted it to, and Mike Panashuk and Raekwon Williams said, we're live. There's only one speed at Michigan State on defense, and it's live. And all of a sudden I was like, oh shit, excuse me, we probably got to cut that out. But those are the type of guys those are.
If you looking back to the 13 defense, it didn't seem like things could get better than 12. How much did the offensive improvement help that team get better on the defensive side, being fresh?
That's a little ways back to look at it, but there's no doubt, and I say best defense is good offense, and vice versa. But the fewer minutes we're on the field, the more adjustments we can make, the fresher our guys are, the less you have to go into 2s and 3s at positions, and those are all big factors. But it's an ultimate team game, so them moving the ball and scoring points is huge.
You're looking for better pass rush. Can you share with us any guys that have shown some improvement there?
Well, yeah, Jacob Ponashuk, I think, has really stepped up. I mean, we know what Kenny is, but and then we're also working with linebackers on the edge, and Brandon Randall turning up his game, and guys like Chase Klein and Noah Harvey. Jack Camper's looking good right now, and I'm just naming names at this point. But the bottom line is, everybody know who Kenny is. Everybody's going to turn their protection to Kenny. So it's the other guys that are going to have to step up their game to be difference makers.
How are Burkhorst and Fletcher looking?
But you guys lost me there.
How are Burkhorst and Fletcher looking? I mean, they're raw. They've got the skills and
They do
raw tools.
They do have the skill set. So pass rush is something where you don't necessarily have to know the defense that well. You don't necessarily have to communicate a million different things that are coming at you. So when you can pin your ears back and go, you can tell those guys have talent.
What have you seen from Naquan in this camp, and as far as his progression?
So Naquan's progression was always going to be what percentage of the plays he wanted to absolutely dominate and take over the game. And there's been definitely more than a handful of plays this year when he's made that decision. It's seeming to be more and more frequent because he's that type of guy. I mean, when he decides that I just want to take over and blow up the middle of this offensive line, he can do it, and it's good to see him developing that attitude because when you're a big talented dude coming out of high school, and it's been a few years now, but you don't even have to think like that. You're just that much better than the guys across from you. And right now, he seems to be having the mindset that I want to be the best player out here.
Are Trey Person and Dominic Long still the twos at safety?
Yes.
Who's knocking on the door to compete with those guys?
Who's knocking on the door to compete with those? Michael Dowell is knocking on the door to compete with those guys for sure. I'm actually excited about the way Tate Hallett's come around. Usually you ask, who stood out last scrimmage. He had a couple of hits that some people are like, oh my goodness, that little skinny guy can lay a licking. So it's exciting to see him too. But off the top of my head.
I feel like Henderson's got the communicative skills down with those guys.
Yeah.
Is that a challenge for a young guy with so many veterans around him?
Probably, but if you've been someplace for over a year and you've actually been up with the ones rotating with that group, he doesn't feel like he's younger than the rest of the guys. He feels like, him and David Dow, it's the same.
Mike, what's your confidence in those second corners, Chicker and Kalen? I know you talk about 22 starters. Like Kalen was just saying, he sort of feels like a starter in his mind at this point. What's your general level of confidence with that second unit cornerback tandem?
He needs to feel like a starter. I mean, and he's playing like a starter, and I'm excited about those guys. And Shakur Brown has made a lot of plays in particular this spring that have been fun to watch. Sheldon White said today they nicknamed him in the video room something like Shakespeare, or Shakur Shakespeare because he's writing so many plays or making so many plays. You're gonna have to ask him the story behind that. But the guy is making plays like Shakespeare makes plays. That's the bottom line. But he's been really impressive. He really has been impressive, and Gert's come a long way too.
What about backup Mike? Any development there?
Noah Harvey's been playing inside quite a bit and doing a really good job and looking pretty natural at it. And Ed Warner's been coming along too. Those guys have been doing it the most.
Jez Lord still.
And let me just jump in there. Tyreek's always ready to go too.
Right.
Jez Lord still behind the two behind Antoine.
Yep. Jez Lord's behind Antoine. Brandon Randall's also been repping at both outside spots.
What for Brandon? I mean, in particular, he's a guy that's shown with the hand on the ground he can get to the quarterback. What can he do at the linebacker spot to solidify some playing time there?
He can do what Bill Belichick always says, which is be reliable, consistent, and ever improving every single day. They ask him about Tom Brady. I hate to even say that name, but his response is, well, he's very consistent. That's what Brandon can be. Because Brandon had 3 plays in that scrimmage where there was open windows, and he shot his gun and got TFLs that make you go, wow. So every play, that's all we're looking for.
When he hits the gas pedal, he's got gears that other guys don't have.
Oh, yeah.
Ed Davis kind of went through a similar progression, didn't he? Where all of a sudden the light went on and you saw the gears.
There's no doubt about it. So you look at the catapult system that the guys wear in their back that we can track how much the running they're doing and how many high-speed efforts, and it also tracks acceleration. And when Brandon decides, it's as good as it gets.
What's that ideal rotation look like, I guess, at defensive tackle and cornerback? I don't know if it's the same, but 60-40, 70, is that even the way you look at it?
Defensive tackle, we look at it that we want to rotate every couple plays, and if it ends up 50-50 in base defense, then we're fine. Obviously, in pass rush situations, we got guys we specifically want on the field, but D tackle, we'll rotate it 50-50. At corner, it's a freshness game. I mean, you're going to not want to rotate your secondary a ton as long as guys are fresh. But certainly, there's going to be teams that will force us to use the third and fourth corners.
Slade still the number 2 with Naquan there.
Yes. Yep. He's had a good camp. Yeah, he's you know, his deal is he's really great with his hands, and he's big, strong, over 300-pound kid. But played more of a read technique in high school. We was playing laterally, and once we got him in the mindset that we're going to replace this line of scrimmage another yard back, he's taking a step forward.
At nickel, Trey Person and Kalen Gervin working there a little bit, or what's going on with the nickel?
X, Gerv, Trey, all three of them have been playing the nickel spot. Yeah.
Is there any part of you that at the end of last year wanted to just sort of bottle up what you had and think, I don't know that we can do this a whole lot better than what it is?
Yeah, see, I'm sort of tired of even talking about last year because it's 100% irrelevant. And
Even with this many guys?
Yeah, it is irrelevant. Because if you think at all, even for a second, that what we've done in the past has any impact on what we've done in the future, then we don't have the right mindset. So we're trying to have the mindset that we got to go attack. We got to go out there and make people think we're crazy with our effort again. Make people all over again recognize the style of defense that we play.
Mike, I know you won't tell us where, but in your mind, is your 22 guys set? Or if not, can you tell us where there still is some battles?
Oh, goodness. Thinking about that. I mean, there's still some battles at the 2 linebacker spots that are going on. Guys like Chase Klein are really fighting and giving guys like Jess Lord and Brandon Randall's run for their money, and Noah Harvey and Ed are having battles. I know, speaking specifically about my position, that the 2s there are definitely up in the air. Defensive end and defensive tackle, both are positions where that 5th guy we consider in our minds as part of the rotation. We talk about a D end and D tackle, we need a pair and a spare, because that's a position that's going to rotate so often. Michael Dowell's really improving and giving things a run for their money. So there's a lot of spots, but it's not as much spots that we're like, oh, we don't have a 2 here, we got to find one, as there's other guys that are pushing.
Dowell at boundary safety or either one?
Boundary safety mostly, yep.
Not every coordinator gets this much returning talent or this much to play with. Do you think about that in terms of opportunity? And
I mean, I'm excited about our guys. I love our guys. I think it's a phenomenal statement for our program that as many guys that didn't necessarily have to come back did come back. I mean, that's awesome. I also remind them and I guess myself too, how much of an impact all those seniors that were on our team last year that left, how much of an impact they had, even though they weren't necessarily full-time starters in a Grayson Miller or a Morrissey or a Bola or guys like that. Their attitudes and football knowledge were huge for us. So our guys need to realize that there are definitely spots that need to be filled.
Impressions of Luke Fulton at this point, Mike?
He's a big, strong kid. He had a hit in the scrimmage on a swing pass yesterday that made everybody go, ooh. He was pretty fired up about that because I think it was probably the first time that he said, oh, I can do the exact same thing on this field as I did back on the high school field. And sometimes you need one play to open up a guy's eyes and say, oh, I can do the same thing right here. And I think he had that aha moment.
What was that you were talking about?
Luke Fulton.
Middle.
Yeah.
Thanks, Coach.
All right,
Thanks
guys.
a lot.
Thanks, Mike.